So do you think Charles is right to say, I'm sorry, we can't put you up?
Absolutely not. It's pathetic. He's pathetic. I mean, it's unbelievable that a son who's in line for the throne, who fought for 10 years in Afghanistan for this country, who loves this country, the only royal who's fought in Afghanistan, all the rest with the chocolate medals on, when they parade through the street, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he is the king's son. If he can't get protection when the likes of these politicians get round-the-clock protection, it's unbelievable. And Harry is a decent man. Obviously, he's been attacked from all angles of the press, of the media, and Charles is tied up with the media. And at the end of the day, it's come back on Harry. And to say he can't stay in Buckingham Palace with all them rooms is absolutely, makes Charles look even more pathetic.
The press keep reminding you of the row. And the row with Harry was when he accused the royal family of being racist. You know.
I just love when we find proof that most of the people in this country do not fall for the media manipulation, the attack, the hate against Meghan and Harry. When the Rangers come into my post and go, we don't want him here, we don't like him, he disrespected our queen. I tell them, seriously, the we is just you and a few unhinged, gullible people who bought into the manipulated hate by the media. How can you as a father choose the media, the press, over your own son and your grandkids? People are calling him pathetic, and these are people who are not royalists. Even the royalists are saying it's petty. Everyone can see it. Just because he wanted a few headlines to say, oh, he's finally put Harry in his place, or he's finally taking a stand, he did this. And now, even their own YouGov skewed polls are showing a drop in support for the monarchy, because everyone can see how petty, mean, and just unnecessary it all is. And then Jeremy Vine saying Harry called his family racist. And none of the people there could say, hang on, no, he never did that. In fact, he clarified that neither him nor Meghan called his family racist. They just allowed that lie to stand. He even paused there because he thought, oh, someone was going to say something, but they just cowardly sat there and kept quiet. Someone said, oh, why did Sussex supporters want Harry and Meghan to stay in the palace, blah, blah. No, very few Sussex supporters actually wanted that. When most of their supporters and fans heard that the Invictus Games was going to be hosted in the UK, we all looked to this side eye. We also, not a very good idea. And staying in the palace, with all of the briefings, all of the monitoring that would have gone on, no, most people didn't want it. It shows King Charles for who he really is. It shows the royal family for what they really are.
I did it. Charles, father, Harry's son. Yes.
That's correct.
I've got it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, imagine you are coming to the UK to do something wonderful, the Invictus Games, right?
Yeah.
Your father has lots of houses. It doesn't even have to be Buckingham Palace.
No.
He's coming to do something wonderful for veterans. And as your father, you cannot offer your son a roof over your head.
We hear you. We hear you. Listen,
it is absolutely terrible.
He's got spare rooms, there's no doubt. It's something else that's going on.
Harry is not asking his father for money. Harry is not asking his father for coins. You know, the king should treat his son like a son. Is Harry not the king's son?
That's a brilliant... Okay, leave that question hanging, because that's almost Shakespearean. Is Harry not the king's son?
After the break.
Oh, you're supposed to leave it hanging, Sarah. We want more of your calls on whether the king should let Harry stay at Buckingham Palace. He's turned his son away. What do you think was going on? 0207 862.
The palace said it's too late logistically to organise the right level of staffing and hospitality and all the other logistics that need to take place in order to have Prince Harry stay inside Buckingham Palace. The other point they made is, of course, Prince Harry has a case against the Daily Mail, which is due to conclude, or the results are due to be published on Tuesday, which puts the king in a compromising constitutional position as monarch.
When we got into the office this morning, the news was Prince Harry's coming over. He's leaving his family behind because of the police protection, but he's staying at Buckingham Palace. And before we came on air, that has now completely reversed. Yes. He is no longer staying because the palace says he didn't reply to the invitation in time.
It's insane that you cannot stay at your own dad's house because you didn't do the administration in time. I think for me, I think it's a really easy home run and win for the royal family to fix and remedy the situation. It would look so good to so many people. They would feel safer. They would feel more connected to the royal family if they could repair this. And the thing is, what makes it even more embarrassing is he's actually making the effort. He comes, he turns up, even though he has no protection. He doesn't seem to be particularly welcome. He doesn't seem to be getting along with his siblings either. But I think there is just an easy remedy for the royal family that would really help everyone and how we perceive them. And at the moment, they're kind of grinding themselves into obscurity. And I think the difference is that when Harry and Meghan were first getting married and it was Will and Kate, we saw this as the face of a brand new royal family. I was excited. I was like, I can accept this. This feels relatable to me. But they have done everything to destroy that image of their own accord. And I'm just like, this is so bad. And so they are failing him. You know, as a man that protects my family, protecting your family is 3 steps ahead of punching someone in the face if they try to get you in front of your family. It's about protecting them from the energy. It's about protecting them from the newspapers and protecting them from anything that can come off. And the way that they've been spoken about is just disgraceful, man. I'm really sad about it, to be honest.
Alistair, is Britain failing?
Let's talk about the absolute breakdown happening inside the royal establishment right now, because the wheels are completely coming off their PR machine and regular people are seeing straight through the nonsense. Hold up, why on earth is the king's own son being denied basic security by Ravek? That is when you know the palace has completely lost the plot. If the most loyal royalists in the media are calling out the foul, the bias is too loud to ignore. And then you watch the Storm show and Marvin hits the nail dead on the head. He pointed out the absolute insanity of Buckingham Palace turning down Harry's request to stay at a royal residence over some petty administrative deadline. Like, imagine telling your own child they can't crash in one of your 50 empty bedrooms because they didn't fill out the paperwork on time. Marvin called it an easy home run win for the royal family that they completely fumbled. If they had just opened the door, even just for the cameras, it would have been great PR. Instead, they chose to be petty, proving once and for all that all those leaked stories about King Charles being this warm, welcoming father were nothing but a calculated image exercise. There is zero genuine feeling behind it. For regular working people, this disconnect is exactly why the public is drifting further and further away from the institution. Marvin made the perfect point. Harry is the one putting in the actual effort to show up, while the royal family is showing they simply do not care. The irony is wild. Harry and Meghan were the exact people who made regular, diverse people feel connected to the monarchy in the first place. Now the palace is grinding themselves into obscurity by alienating the only royals the public actually related to. What makes this whole situation truly appalling is how calculated it all feels. Snatching away his accommodation at the absolute 11th hour, dropping Ravek's security decisions right after Harry announced his family was planning to join him. It's not just messy, it's plain cruel. They hate that he chose his family over their corporate firm, but Harry is still standing tall while the palace looks smaller by the day. Let's look at the absolute roasting King Charles is getting from the British public right now, because the people in the UK are completely calling out the pettiness and the vibes are terrible for the palace. The media loves to pretend that regular British people are just blindly backing everything the Crown does, but right now, the mood on the street has completely flipped. People are looking at Charles locking the doors to Buckingham Palace against his own son and saying, "Bro, you are the King of England, you own 50 different castles and you're acting like a landlord over a late check-in form." For the average person working a normal job, family is family. If your kid flies across the ocean to do charity work for wounded veterans, you don't hit them with an administrative deadline and tell them to find a hotel. It makes the monarch look incredibly cold, completely mechanical, and totally detached from how normal human beings actually behave. And the absolute comedy of it is how badly this backfired on their PR team. They spend millions trying to convince the public that Charles is this warm, grandfatherly figure who wants nothing more than peace and unity. But the second Harry actually pulls up to London, they pull the rug out from under him at the 11th hour. They wanted to publicly embarrass Harry, but instead, they just made themselves look incredibly small, bitter, and pressed. The public isn't stupid. People see the effort Harry is putting in to stay focused on the Invictus Games, while his own family is playing childish high school games behind closed doors. Charles thought he was pulling a power move by freezing Harry out, but the British public is straight up calling foul. You can control the press leaks all you want, but you can't force people to respect petty behaviour, and right now, Harry is the one walking away with all the respect. Let's talk about the absolute elephant in the room here, because the way the establishment is reacting to Harry right now comes down to one simple toxic truth. They are actively trying to punish the man for thriving and surviving outside of their bubble. Think about the toxic script they wrote for him when he left in 2020. The palace and the UK tabloids desperately wanted him to fail. They were preying on his downfall, waiting for him to crumble, lose his way, and come crawling back begging for their approval. But instead, the man completely flipped the script. He built a massive independent life in California, secured his own bagging rights, created a beautiful family with Meghan, and kept making a real, undeniable global impact. And that is exactly what driving his hate is completely insane. They aren't mad that he left, they are mad that he left and actually won. For regular people watching this play out, this is a massive, relatable human insight. We all know that toxic boss, that bitter ex, or those fake friends who get deeply offended the second you choose to better your life and walk away from their control. They hate when you stop playing by their rules and still manage to outshine them. So what do they do when they see you winning? They try to make your life as difficult as possible. They weaponize bureaucratic security blockades. They pull petty room eviction stunts at the absolute 11th hour, and they try to use the system to ding your momentum. It's a targeted personal retaliation simply because Harry had the spine to live on his own terms, protect his peace, and tell his own truth. The establishment is completely showing its hand here. They thought they could dim his light by cutting off his security and locking the palace doors, but Harry is out here pulling up to Chatham House looking like absolute money, leading global conferences and saving veterans' lives. They wanted a ghost story, but instead they got a masterclass in resilience. The more they try to penalize his independence, the smaller they look and the brighter his actual legacy shines. Let's look at the real headline of the day, because Prince Harry hitting this massive 1 year to go milestone for the 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham is the ultimate proof of his unstoppable impact. Think about the sheer scale of what this man has built over the last 12 years. He didn't just attach his name to a random charity or show up for a 5-minute royal ribbon cutting. He literally built a global powerhouse from scratch. Time magazine even named him one of the 100 most influential people in sports, right alongside elite global athletes, entirely because of how Invictus has completely revolutionized recovery for wounded heroes across the globe. And for regular people watching this play out, the contrast right now is absolute comedy. While the establishment is trapped in its little bubble, counting bedrooms, playing petty housing games, and coordinating background press leaks, Harry is out here moving like a true global leader. He pulls up to Chatham House, commands an international stage, and brings together policymakers, medical experts, and international organizers to lock in real-world support for veterans. He is out here actively saving lives and restoring families, while his critics are completely stuck in high school-level drama. You can try to block a man's security, you can pull his accommodations at the absolute 11th hour, and you can try to trap him in bureaucratic red tape, but you cannot block his actual purpose. They wanted to see him look defeated in London, but instead they got a masterclass in staying focused on the mission. Harry proved that real legacy isn't about titles or empty castle rooms. It's about the lives you actually change when the cameras turn off. Invictus is marching forward to Birmingham, the momentum is massive, and no amount of palace noise is ever going to dim his shine. Let's look at how the entire royal establishment is grinding itself right into absolute obscurity, because the way they are handling Harry's visit to London is a masterclass in how to embarrass yourself on a global stage. The institution is trapped in a completely desperate loop, trying everything in their playbook to make Harry look isolated. They weaponize the security boards to delay his protections, and then they play high school-level housing games, locking the front doors to Buckingham Palace at the absolute 11th hour over some ridiculous administrative deadline. They wanted to orchestrate this massive image of a defeated man standing outside in the cold, but instead, the monarchy just ended up exposing how incredibly petty and mechanical they've become. Regular people look at a father locking his own kid out of a house with 50 empty bedrooms, and they don't see royal protocol, they see a toxic, uncaring corporate office. And while the palace is busy counting rooms and drafting petty press leaks to justify their coldness, look at what Harry is actually doing. The man is pulling up to Chatham House, commanding international stages, and uniting global leaders to save veterans' lives. The contrast is absolute comedy. The palace is actively shrinking its own relevance by alienating the only people the public could actually relate to, turning the monarchy into a completely out-of-touch relic that operates on spite instead of substance. They thought they were pulling a power move by freezing him out, but they've only succeeded in freezing themselves out of the real world.
That is the full breakdown for today, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and got some good value out of it. You already know I am your host, Miles. Till next time, goodbye.